here recently. So, when you have the luck and the chance to be in a place where people come to visit and bring their culture, their ideas, and things so on. Well, I got this set of fins. It was a gift. I was so happy of it, and I kept it like a relic until they broke and so on. So, you join the dots. You are in a big event, and you say, "Hey, what if I apply the same method I did with the paddles to the fins? Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
can, like design something particular." And so I started studying because I wanted to come out with a kind of fins, a kind of design that would work in the specific for our sports.
Yeah.
So a surfer needs a set of fins with maybe um, a bigger rake, a little more drag, but basically they can move their feet on the board. They can
Yeah.
displace the body center and the weight wherever they want, and of course within their abilities. But we have this limit of being sitting in one place, and
Yeah.
the displacement of the weight comes by moving the torso and the body and the head and leaning outside and sideways. So maybe we needed something that offered more pivoting, because they're going to like have less, you need less control in the sense of the forward and back,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe we can get more speed during turns, so in order to like make more things in a quicker way. And I tried a lower rake. I tried, and it
Mm-hmm.
looked like it was working. Then the tip maybe a bit more surface on the tip to make it flex, because they're supposed to be smaller. And this was the attempt, but I wanted to preserve a decent base value, so to have more like grab when you're in the surface with your rail.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, my idea of fins and in general about all the accessories and equipment, they are at service. They are not the miracle you look for. They are not the magic button you press.
No.
They are just a tool you use to tune up what the shaper did for you.
Yeah.
We are in the hands of the shapers first of all, and I think my job is to serve their ideas with
Mm-hmm.
implementations. Maybe I can offer different margins for that design to work, but of course I cannot resolve a problem which is intrinsic of the design of the board or the surf kayak.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting. I we were talking to Ian last week, and he was saying he'd go out and try out some fins, and he'd come back and he'd start sanding them, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't even know where to start. Like I wouldn't even
he
know.
sent me he sent me a video. He sent me a video where he sanded the fin,
I
and I
wouldn't
said
even know where to start. It's just something.
he
I mean,
knows.
so that's just beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, but
Like,
don't expect yourself to make it good at first.
yeah,
You have to make many mistakes. Maybe you
yeah.
want to try your own ideas and things with plastic fins. You buy big ones and you start trimming, whatever. Or maybe make some wood ones.
Yeah, that's true. So I sent. Let me see if I can. So you talked about rake,
Yeah.
and I honestly, I've been surfing for a long time, and I never really gave it much thought as to
Do you
what we.
think in this? Do you think in this software we are using, I can expose some images?
Yeah, I can share.
Ah, yeah, I see a share button. Okay, I will try to find some images I made, just
Mhm.
to, because I think it will be like stupid for me to exactly, this is what I'm going to do. So you're showing this, and we may talk about these different designs and which are the elements. I made. I always had the idea we need to let people know. It's
Mhm.
not any there is no secret to hide or to keep
Yeah,
for us. Like we
yeah,
have to share everything so people can give you feedback, and from that feedback we can do even better. And
yeah.
so I made a comic, it's like a cartoon version of myself, explaining explaining the different parameters of
Mhm.
the fins, and trying to like give the basics to the people.
Yeah.
So basically, the rake is the angle. I don't know how to. Do you have a pointer or something?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like this one,
Oh,
and yeah, this is the mega one that came with, it's glass. It came with my kayak,
okay. Which
and
one's the white? You mean, or
yeah,
the
this one right here.
the white? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are similar, I guess. I'm not sure. I cannot guarantee. They are similar to the concept also seen in the M Pros made by
Hmm.
Malcolm Piercy.
Very similar.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and the you can see the angle of
Hmm.
by which the base starts. I
Hmm.
don't know how to describe it, but the angle by which it starts is
Yeah.
quite accentuated. Anyway, it's by definition you can find everywhere, also in FCS page, official page, and so on. You have definition of rake like the angle
Hmm.
from the beginning, the frontal side of the fin, to more or less some point at the tip of it.
Yeah.
In general, it will describe how vertical is the fin,
Yeah.
and the angle is measured from the vertical, the total verticality
Hmm.
to the other side. So this is the angle they measure. So less rake means more vertical paddle, more vertical fin.
Okay.
More rake, you have a more declined fin like this. So
Right.
less rake, more rake. Okay,
Hmm. Gotcha.
and this feature will give you more pivot,
Hmm.
less pivot, basically, just to put it simple.
Right. So.
And by what do you get when you have more rake? You
Hmm.
have more stability, of course,
Right,
because
which is
the
this one,
orientation.
or this
Exactly.
one
The
even.
central one is more a more stabilizing fin, let's
Yeah.
say. A
Okay.
little more stabilizing fin, maybe more for the tip,
Hmm.
but the slimmer body, for example, will offer
Yeah.
more flexibility.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you
So.
see, if you imagine it, you can get
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
how it
mean,
works.
yeah, I ended up getting this one in black. Um,
Yeah. Is that a
these two.
central, or you found them on
No,
on the sides?
this is one of my crazy experimentations. This was the two here are
Yeah.
3 inches.
Yeah.
The one in black actually was sent to me at 3.5 inches.
Well, you
And
trimmed a lot,
yeah,
maybe
I
half of
mean,
it.
like an
That's
idiot.
good.
But
No, why you say
well,
so?
I was, I tried the 3.5s, and it was, I couldn't turn it as well as the two here on the left.
Hmm.
I went out to the same break, very similar wave, and I put the black one in 3.5, and like, wow, it's really hard to turn. And I said, well, I have 3 inch here, maybe I'll try a 2.5 inch, and I'm not going to change really the rake too much. I'm going to see what happens, and
The
you know,
base is very wide. Do you see? The base is wider.
yeah,
And so actually the surface of contact is like bigger. If you
yeah,
keep the same shape, if you have same length, same rake, more or less same shape, a wider base, a longer base would give you more grab on the wave itself, because
yeah,
the surface of contact is anyway bigger.
yeah,
So the
yeah,
tip and the base are like, the two things you play with.
yeah. That's interesting, and I mean, I didn't give this black one enough chance, I guess. I guess it didn't have enough grip for me and pivot as compared to these two. That I kind of noticed right away. When the wave got a little larger and I expected it to grab, I was a little more satisfied with these two, the clear and the white one here.
Yeah, but this is a comparison you made with only the model you know.
There you go. Yeah,
So you have to always keep in mind the fin is serving the design of the kayak or the wave ski,
yeah, yeah,
and the rails are, in my opinion, the rails, especially in a longboat, have the most important role. That
yeah,
means that they can work without a fin. That means that you have to imagine to put a fin there that is serving the rail function in in a specific kind of way. So
Yeah.
the shape of the wave will tell you what to put.
Yeah.
I think
Gotcha.
this is my opinion, of course.
No, I get that. That's
A very
that,
concave, a very concave wave would require you, for example, some people think, ah, you use a quad. This is not true. Depends on the kind of design you have.
mm,
And if you have, for example, if you have a very thin rail and maybe also a small channel in it, like you can see in some whitewater kayaks, for example,
yeah.
in some like rodeo boats, they have like a small channel in the rail with the idea of using it like this way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Imagination can take everywhere, you know.
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. No, that makes total sense. I mean, obviously, the larger fin you have, it's going to be harder to turn. Depending, like you said, depending on what model and what size your kayak is, and all that. Like, I started on a Cobra Strike, which is a sit on top, and eventually
I saw
I
your videos. I saw your videos.
yeah, I mean, that's my that's I still have a lot of fun on that. But
Yeah.
I started with the fin that came with it. I think I don't know if it's the 3 or the 5, but eventually for the majority of the waves, I just took it off because I really learned how to just lean more and get the rail into the wave. And I can have just a little bit more flexibility and more turn, and I can slide a little bit. But if the waves got bigger, like in some storm surf, and especially when I want to track out quickly and not spin, I put
Yeah.
the fin in, So like you said, it's all about your situation. And like Ian was saying, he's sanding fins and he's trying to get what he needs for in the moment on the particular board, on the particular wave. Um,
Well, personally, if I need to produce fins, especially with the designs we make, which require a mold, the possibility of making many shapes is limited. So we
yeah,
start from the mold shape, which comes from a 3D design, basically. I
yeah.
start with the outline, but of course you have to remember there is a foiling inside. The margin I have, for example, is to give a flat inner surface,
Hmm.
or maximum a foiling of 90-10, which
Okay.
means you make like a deformation of the inner surface in order to like create a sinuous surface that will accompany the water in its way.
Hmm.
And 90-10 means that you have maybe 10% of the inner surface modified in relation to the rest of the fin.
Yeah.
So 50-50 would be a symmetric fin. 90-10 will have like only 10% made and the rest is on the other side.
Hmm.
Just to simplify, of course, it's not a perfect definition. And I cannot find well, I was looking for the images I was talking about, but anyway, no problem.
Yeah.
So, um, uh,
And it makes sense.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
I was saying, yes, about the foiling, and not only the problem I have with the molds is that I cannot give, for example, a bigger range of length, of depth. The depth is the distance from the base, sorry, from the base to the
Mhm.
tip. The vivid body of the fin outside of the box,
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
not including the plug. Like
Right.
just from the body of the fin outside of the box,
Yeah.
and that is the depth or height.
Yeah.
It's valid in both ways. So I can only offer, for example, with the design, the Pleiades SC, only between 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches.
Okay.
So when I have a customer asking, I can only offer between these
Yeah.
two values. If we don't put the carbon base, maybe we can reach 2 inches, but not that
Mhm.
much, because it can touch the foam core inside the core mat inside the resin, so it will touch and just open it up at the end. So these are the limits of the technology I'm using. But if we use, for example, G10, which is a kind of multi-layer resin with fiberglass in it, So you
Hmm.
make like several layers. You can also make them in different colors. That's why you have these very beautiful fins with, you know, parallel color lines. And that's because you just shape the way, when you get to the points, you just go through the layers so you can see the different colors. For example, if you want a set of fins in that kind of material, then we can shape it. But it
Yeah.
takes more time and more work. That's why they cost more, because there is a person doing them. There is a physical person doing them, not a machine, not a big industry. And the idea behind that is always to work with, yes, these are G10. The idea behind AO is to always work with artisans, with real
Hmm.
people, to put like your soul and magic in it.
Yeah.
And of course, it might have the defects of handmade things.
Yeah.
But do you know how much waste there is behind the fin production in a big industry? Can you imagine, like, one third of the production, if it has defects, cannot enter the market and it has to be
Yeah.
thrown away? Just
Yeah.
thrown away. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love these fins. I mean, your website shows the artisanship and like the honeycomb pattern in there, and I mean they're beautiful. And like you
I
said,
don't do them. I don't do them.
yeah, you
I
don't
want to
do.
make clear. I want to make clear this. People think I do them. I'm there. I'm on the phone all the time. I'm
Well,
24
yeah,
hours a day on the
yeah,
phone because my job is like, I'm a coordinator, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to create a network of artisans.
yeah,
So these are made by an Italian friend who lives in Indonesia, and
yeah.
he just fed up of Italy. He went there. He's a
Hmm.
good shaper. He makes surfboards and everything. He's the best guy, and I
Yeah,
trust him completely. He helped me define the 3D part because I gave him the outlines, and I talked, and so he taught me as well.
yeah,
And I learned a lot also from mistakes. A
yeah,
lot of mistakes, a lot of problems that I had to solve, like refunding or substituting the materials. It took me a lot of time, but I was supported by our community of wave ski riders. This is the thing I'm mostly proud of.
no, that's great.
A lot of mistakes, a lot of that I had to solve. This is the some delays.
They're beautiful. I mean, what can I say? You're not making them in your garage, but you're the vision behind it. Um, you know, you hire great creative artisans. What can you say? I mean, it's amazing. And I like what you said. 2.5 to 3.5. You don't have to reinvent the wheel for wave skis and surf kayaks. There's a reason you're not using 6, 8 inches like a longboard.
We do
Um,
also, we do also in the sense
Put my foot in
in
my
the
mouth.
some people need like to stabilize because maybe they don't have enough ability, because maybe
Yeah,
they want to, depends on the wave they're surfing. Some people need longer central fins, for example.
yeah,
Well, we just trim down a longboard fin
yeah,
and we take it down to 4.5 or four
yeah,
inches. It's a different design. But if I have to say my creation, the Pleiades SC, well, they are like, this is the range I can offer now. I
hmm,
have another design. I will bring it out hopefully soon. I'm just saving money to make a new mold. It's
yeah,
expensive.
yeah. My buddy Ross, he has a plastic fin, and he's asking if he can modify it by filing it, change the shape. And if you have any suggestions, I mean, I would just say find a small one you like, so you have the rake and the shape already there, and
Where is
trace
he?
it. And,
Is he online now? Hey, can he
yeah,
answer?
yeah, he's watching right now. Yeah.
Okay, I need his feedback, please. So what is the thing he needs to do?
Yeah, he just had if there's a suggestion on
I can
filing
modify it
or
by filing to change the
yeah,
shape. Any
yeah,
suggestions which I
yeah,
could post a pic? Well, depends. For example, you need less rake. You want them more vertical. Well, just cut in the front. Why
yeah,
not? Let's see. Because the water will be diverted differently. Maybe we'll have maybe they can become slower because
yeah,
they just impact vertically on the beginning of it. All right. So
yeah, yeah.
like this is better. So the impact from this side is different when you have an impact from this side. But anyway, you're just changing an already existing shape.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what is he looking for? This is the question. And once he knows what he wants to change, for example, he wants more pivot. Okay, you just change the rate. You want more flexibility. Well, you can like cut like a comb in the
Hmm.
back. It's just plastic, so you will have like a more flexible fin in this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will just bend more. Try
Yeah.
things. Try things. Be creative. It's
Yeah.
plastic. You can do it.
It's true. The fin over here on the right in the black. If I were to do this again, I would basically take the fins to the left that have the shape and the rake and reduce it down to 2.5 instead of keeping the same same width at the bottom or even greater and just shaving off the top. Does that make sense? Everything seems to come down proportionately.
But this is because we're just copying nature. That's
Yeah,
why basically the shape of a fin is considered. It started like with a dolphin shape
yeah,
in surfing. They called it dolphin shape,
yeah,
and then it evolved in a more commercial way.
yeah,
What we know, like the standards, like FCS, like Futures, they all make basically their version of the dolphin shape. But if
yeah,
you look at history of fins, if you look at these 50s collections of multi different shapes put together in a collage, you can see that I mean, you can do anything with fins. Why never anyone just try to make an inverted fin forward, for example? Why don't
um,
you get inspired by wings of a fight aeroplane, for
right.
example?
Yeah, we look to you to do that and test it, and and then once we
I
know it
will
works,
give
we
them
buy
I
it.
will give them to the right people to test.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like Ross says here, the bigger fin's great for control on the face of the wave, which I totally get. You don't slide out. But then when you need to turn, it's going to be
Mhm.
obviously a trade-off, and that's what Ian was talking about last
But
week.
that's why you have to know the wave you're going to. You have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
look. The best thing you can do in life is to look at the ocean. You just stay
yeah,
there for hours and hours and hours, and then you will not understand, but you will absorb the patterns. Especially in your hometown, the place you surf the most. You just know how it goes. It's not
yeah,
even there. You're not even there counting the waves. You just know the second is the right one or the third. That's because a part of you has developed an instinct to it, and the ocean moves by patterns. And
yeah,
this is what you have to study. So when you know the shape of the waves you go, when you know where the wave will appear, then you will know how to position, you will know how to start it, to drop. If you want, you can drop vertically, so you need a kind of fin. If you want to start it diagonally, then you need another kind of fin. It depends on your style, it depends on you, and just trying many things will get you there.
yeah. And I've shown up to the beach. I live a little far from the beach, so I keep a couple of fins in my bag, and I'm out there one day with a screwdriver. I took the fin off totally, and then I'm like, this is not working. So I went back and I put the fin back in, just because I couldn't, I wasn't reading the waves too well. I got out there, it was a little bigger than I thought. And that's just the way it goes. That's why guys kind of show up with a couple of boards or a quiver, or you try to
Yeah.
check the webcam, or the surf report is way off and wrong. And like me, I met my buddy John, and I had the large fins in, and I ran back to the sand. I was trying to change them out. I was freezing. There was
But
sand all in there.
if I'm not wrong as well, you have a mega kayak, and then generally, as far as I remember, I used to have a couple of them, and the fin box is quite long, right? It's
Yeah,
an
yeah,
insert of aluminium,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
quite long, so it gives you the chance to move them.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
That
can
too.
you imagine? It took me ages to understand which is the best position for me,
Yeah, yeah.
because there are many advices. The best I could find is a website which I really advise you to visit, which is surfkayakskills.com,
I love
maybe.
that site. That's in my
Yeah,
browser.
it's one of the first where I started looking for ideas, instructions, because there is
Yeah,
nothing. And
yeah,
this is what I'm trying to fill, in our culture of
yeah,
surfing seated. We need informations. We need people to contact and get feedback from. Their experience must be shared. I'm not a
Yeah.
great surfer, and I will never be, but at least I try to know myself and know what I need to do in order to
Yeah.
get some results. I
Yeah.
wish I had more time. I don't have it, but I go to surf as much as possible within the year. Maybe like hopefully 12 times is not much, but I know where to put my fins. For example, I know what works better for me. And
Yeah.
then, for example, one of the advices you get from that site is like you can start with the sides very advanced and the central very in the back. It's an exaggeration, but you have a big triangle, you know.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
big that big triangle might be a stabilizer for you.
Yeah.
Then the
That's
dimensions of fins, well, it's not mentioned. People thought you just put three same depths.
yeah. 3 inch.
I would start, for example, with like 3 inches at least sides. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go shorter, and maybe if you have the chance of 4 inches central,
Yeah.
because you will maintain the tilt. You will have a deeper
Yeah.
control,
Yeah.
so it's more stable. But of course, in the moment you want to put the rail in the wave, that will be an obstacle.
Right.
It's up to
Yeah,
you.
it's a trade off. It's a trade off. Well,
Yeah,
we
I
want to
like
make
to see
sure.
it like a short cloth, and so if you pull it this way, your feet are out, and you feel cold.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, we want to make sure we can get your fins directly from you, or should we go to your retailers? More
My
importantly,
retailer in the US is Ian McLeod.
good, good. I'll be due for
He's
some fins.
this guy is one of the first people who believed in this project, and I will take the chance here to thank him, not because he's a very good friend, not only for that, but also because he gave me the courage.
Yeah.
Well, Io has a very particular story, so I don't want to take all the time just to say the story of my parents. We are here to talk about fins and paddles,
Fins
but
and
Ian
paddles.
Ian Ian told me something by message. He didn't know nothing about me. He just saw the paddles and said, I don't know. It was his instinct, and I'm trying to do the best to make him right.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "I want you to succeed." This is the exact phrase, and I'm trying to do the same to others. Just pass the word. I want the others to succeed. This is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. That's good advice. And listen, it's a great community. That's kind of why I got so
Yeah.
involved in this, and I'm like so passionate and just kind of you know
It
I'm
was
putting
there. I was a compressed volcano, and then I had this idea, and I said, "Okay, I will do my thing," and it happened. I don't know how.
yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah, so I love your paddles too. I just pulled up two of mine, and
Did you see any of
oh,
the
I,
IO
I'll
titles?
yeah, I'll pull up your paddles too, and we can look at them. And
Because
these
John Guido, I think, has one now.
he does. Yeah, I've seen a picture of him, and
Does he live close to you? Do you meet sometimes?
yeah, yeah, he's about an hour and a half east of here, and
Well,
he
I
helped me
would
out a
like
lot.
you. I would like you to have a look and make your own experience and evaluation.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
what I will do right now is like make a public announcement. I will take the
Mhm.
chance of this beautiful stage, and I thank you so much for giving me time for this. But well, it's my job. I do marketing as well,
Yeah, yeah.
and this is an information that might be interesting for all of you because especially today, I got the upset. Well, I want to reveal that who is the manufacturer of the paddles, which
Hmm.
is Ophium Paddles. He's
Orpheum.
based in he's based in Slovenia, and he always, I mean, he as well believed in this project. You can imagine, I was just a guy who made a logo and said I want it on a paddle. So I
Yeah.
talked to him. I was lucky to meet him online and so on. We had a talk, and I said, "Hey, can you do these paddles for me?" And he said, "Yeah, why not? Let's see what we can do." So I started putting a logo on a Photoshop of his paddles, and I put it online. And I said, "I'm selling these paddles," and I had my first customer. You know, it was
That's
crazy.
great.
Started from scratch, from zero. So anyone can do it. The
Yeah.
problem is, it's easy to start, but it's hard to keep on.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah.
to believe in when you get in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And my first customer was Paul the Groot.
Okay.
So start whiskey surfing was the first customer of all. He has the number one, and these paddles are great. Since we
Nice.
started with one model of Ophion, which is called Katana, and we
Hmm.
rebaptized into Scythe because I wanted to have names of stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Scythe, it comes in three different sizes now: the medium, the large, and the small. And we designed different new new blades as well, like the Mizar, and the Antares Nebula is inspired by another model they have for sea kayaking,
Hmm.
but which revealed to be very good, very good in waves. So the construction is different. It's not as light and fragile like for sea kayaking, where what you look for is long distance, so you want a very light paddle. We
Yeah.
made them in the whitewater construction, and we added an extra uh, parallel lines layer, so one the unidirectional carbon layer, in order to have this is the Scythe Nova,
Hmm.
which comes from the freestyle world. So
Hmm.
it's a kind of design which offers like a more rounded shape. But when you start the stroke, when you put the beginning at the tip of it, you already have a decent surface to have enough grab very quickly.
Hmm.
And those, of course, it's like a shorter paddle in this sense,
Yeah.
so it's quick to put in and out. It's meant for quick strokes. Depends on your
Okay.
style.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. John, I think, has one of these. John
He
Guido.
has an Antares Nebula.
Oh, a nebula. Okay.
Antares Nebula is the long and thin.
Yeah.
We first tested it with Pablo Airways.
Hmm.
He was looking for a paddle which was more like thin, and I had the design. It was already in the catalog, and it was just for a different use. And I said, okay, let's try this in different construction. Let's make it with the enough material and layers to be strong, and let's try. We made a test, and it was perfect. He was very happy with it. So
Nice.
we just started selling it, and it went away like like breadcrumbs. It was quick.
Yeah, I do like the shape. I brought up the other ones as well. These two that I happen to have in my
Yeah.
possession, and
Yes.
the orange one is, I think the surface area is 755 centimeters, which
How much?
is
Sorry.
755.
755 is quite big.
Yes, exactly.
Quite big. Well,
Compared to 700
what
here.
happens, you have a lot of pain in the forearms. This is what happens. So, or
Yeah.
you train a lot, or and
Ah, yeah.
stretch before and after the sessions,
Yeah.
or you find a different way.
Right. And, unfortunately, with this model, that's just the way it comes. There are no other
But
blade
when you go
sizes.
river kayaking,
Right.
of course you need traction. Of course you need
Yeah.
to be good in sprinting,
Yeah.
but as
Yeah.
well you use a lot of your paddle just as a rudder and then the way to
Yeah.
maneuver within the current.
Embracing, embracing.
What we do
Yeah.
is different. We pass most of our time paddling out.
Yeah.
You have to consider as well the surface must be reduced a little bit, and you have to
Yeah. And
develop new techniques.
yeah. And this one I actually came with the kayak that I bought. So
Hmm.
I'm new to all this as well. So I ended
Yeah.
up using this one. And it's got a little
Well,
less surface area.
it's not only the area; it's also the direction it has. It's called um, sorry,
Like,
now I can't find the. I don't remember exactly.
yeah.
English is not my native language, and sometimes I
But the
curtsy.
shape.
Yes, but it's like oriented upwards more.
Yeah.
So high angle, yes.
Yeah.
They say high angle and low angle or
Yeah.
neutral. So when you have a paddle which is more like lifted up this way, they are high angle.
Yeah.
And actually what they offer is when you put them in the water, they are more ready to go this way. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but you have like the side surface more oriented like the water surface.
Yeah.
So they're ready to grab quick.
Hmm.
But if you make this angle too much, well, you will have like a twist, a twist at the moment of the traction, right?
Yeah.
So you need strong wrists, and
Yeah.
this is
Good
why
point.
people get pain sometimes after
Yeah.
many years. A low angle is like to look to get the tip first.
Right.
That's another style. That's another traction you have.
Yeah. I've seen
Depends on
that.
what you look for. But what I recommend, it's not uh, to look at these details yet. If you're not a professional, if you're not a really experienced paddler, you will not really understand what the
Yeah.
problem is. If you have pain, if you have like uh, problems at your wrists, how to protect them? Well,
Yeah.
some people look for cranked shafts,
Yeah.
but trust me, the best you can do is to learn to hold it,
Hmm.
because if you hold it strong, you will lock your wrist. It's a natural mechanism. When you lock here, all the bones of the wrist will compact,
Yeah.
and that's where the pain comes from,
Yeah.
because you're forcing into an opposite force. So if you learn to hold your paddle, especially lifting the last fingers,
Yeah.
okay, you will also have, I'm trying to be in the camera, you will have a better reach,
Hmm.
because I need a stick. Okay, so a pen, a pen. Okay,
Yeah.
when you hold it this way, it will not move, right? But if you hold it this way with just the fingers, then you can reach better in the front. You see,
Yeah.
without forcing your wrist this way, you just let it go. You just need three fingers to hold the shaft.
Yeah. Oh,
Why
that's
holding it strong? Relax, lift your side fingers here, your last fingers here, and your wrist will not lock.
yeah.
So you
That's
can reach far away. You will have a more relaxed stance. And when you paddle, don't push too much. Don't pull too much. Just learn to push. It's
yeah.
a different lever. So you will have the advantage and not the water against you. If you
Yeah.
push, you can also keep your hand open. If the blade is good, it will stabilize, will not flutter.
Yeah.
What
I
we try to do is to give a less flutter and more stable paddles.
yeah. I what I run into here in the United States is listen. I'll mention the other brands. They're
No
great.
problem. No, 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 no. Look,
Yeah.
I'm not here to promote myself only. I'm here to
Yeah. Yeah.
divulgate information. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
named Mega. I named True Aims. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, and Werner is very popular.
Yeah.
I know that they do make one, and even in their description, they say that this one is better for surfing because the majority of them are whitewater. Usually there's a section in the website that's whitewater. There's rarely surfing.
Yeah.
So immediately saw your shapes here on the screen, and I was like, "Whoa!" That's what I'm feeling when I go surfing. And what I love about the nebula is that, and I think I saw a description that when I love to lean out and get into the wave, I don't have this hard edge like like on the Aquabound that I had, where it squares off.
Yeah.
It rounds off a little more, and I can use it to kind of rudder a tiny bit. It's just enough. But like you said, to get it down in there, you're already almost getting a stroke, by the time half your
The
paddle
the
is there.
the advantage you get from the Antares Nebula is that you have less resistance on the axis of the shaft
Hmm.
because it's thinner. So
Yeah.
basically, you can try to maneuver and modulate when
Yeah.
you're surfing.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to try different things.
Yeah, these are great. And I knew immediately when I saw these shapes that, okay, these are for surfing, less surface area because we're not battling whitewater and trying to brace as much.
Yeah, but when I said first time that these are for surfing,
Yeah.
was not because the shape was for surfing, and people maybe misunderstood that, and so I took that way later. But
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, I used a shape coming from Ophion, and they're specialized in whitewater rivers. So what I meant with it, that these are for surfing, was that the person who's selling these is from the niche of surfing.
Yeah.
While Werner might be the most famous brand in the world, might have the best technology, might have like huge distribution, best prices, whatever you want. but they are not into the niche,
Right. Well,
and they don't know the needs of a surfer.
well, there you
Or
go. I
maybe
mean,
they do, maybe they do,
they
but they
might,
didn't develop that.
yeah, and maybe now, but I mean, even though you're just the point person, you're kind of the visionary behind the fins and the paddles, and you do surf. So you're like me, It's like I know what happens when I grab a paddle from the sporting goods shop. Um, that's an aluminum one that just bends, and I know the difference now that I've got a year under my belt. When I take the larger orange one out, I like felt it in my shoulder right away that I was pushing so much water. And a couple of my friends were like, "Man, you better be careful. You're going to get a shoulder and you know
Try to
injury."
push, try to push with
Yeah,
the upper hand.
yeah.
You'll see a neat difference. You use
But
different
and
muscles.
yeah, and listen, we got different weights. We serve different boats. We're all different, but we progress if we keep doing it, and as you get better, at least for me, I want more aerodynamic equipment or lighter equipment, less cumbersome, smaller paddles. I'm learning to roll a little better now, so I don't
But
need
in a kayak, and a
yeah,
kayak,
in the
people
kayak.
tell me, but this is heavy. This kayak is heavy. The fins are heavy. And I say, look, when you're soaked in water, how can you say it's the
Yeah,
equipment to be heavy? You're just soaked in water. So the question of weight, it's not as important as some people point at, because we are sprinters. So, for example, I'd prefer a heavier paddle,
yeah,
but a more solid one, because it has more material in it
yeah,
and it's well structured. You
yeah,
want it light, I can sell you a light paddle. But
yeah,
my advice is always, look, if it breaks, it's not my responsibility. You're going to surf with it. So you apply, you push on it. What do
yeah,
you expect? You want a full carbon? Yeah, super light. Yeah, I can make a sea kayak construction. But if it
yeah,
breaks, don't
yeah,
blame me. And the problem is not the weight. The
yeah.
problem is like comfort.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you're going to be out there for hours. Paul is asking, which model are you using? What about you? Which paddle are you
Me,
using right
I'm
now?
ashamed to say that I sold my only demo paddle. Well, I didn't sell it. I used to have a Scythe medium with a split shaft, so I could like adjust it to different measures, and that's the best you can ask for a demo paddle. So everybody can adjust the length and
Yeah,
the angle and the offset between blades. And I used to have it, but in that moment I was in contact with Ainhoa Tolosa, which is a fantastic kayak surfer from the Basque Country, and
yeah,
she is actually the most titled champion in Basque Country, and she is actually the world champion in IC and HP. She was
mm,
going to Peru for the Worlds on surf kayak, and I said, "Hey, look, I cannot send you a new one, but take mine." I packed it and sent, and
yeah,
a
yeah,
shoemaker always have broken shoes.
yeah. Well, like Ross is saying, his the touring paddle's a feather, but once you go surfing and you get slammed and you get beaten around, and you're holding the paddle under the force, Of course, guys like me, I don't want it to break. I'm not a pro, I don't have sponsorship. So like you said, I don't want the lightest feather
Well,
paddle out
you can read here the
there.
surface of the Antares.
Yeah,
The Antares, the regular one, is maybe too small. It has been tested now. Marie Tessier,
yeah,
she's the actually she's the French champion
okay,
between the
mhm,
girls, and she has the other one, the regular, and
okay,
it's very small. It's very small, so you have to be quite technical, but
yeah,
can give
yeah.
you
That's
the
not for me.
advantages. Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead, this one, the Antares Nebula,
yeah,
is one of the best sellers because the surface is bigger. It's not 620 like the regular, but 680 centimeters square. So
okay,
basically, it's like a big paddle for sea kayaking,
yeah,
but in a different construction. So
yeah,
it's made out of um, I don't know how to, like the layers are the same for
yeah.
surfing paddles.
Yeah, I think that's the shape I was going for. I was gonna shoot for 700 centimeters, and that's 685. You said, so that's close. That's
680, I
close.
think the
Yeah,
Nebula is 680. But look, the thing is, if you get an Antares Nebula, I would like you to have a bomb-proof Eskimo roll.
Yeah, right. And that's what.
because because in the water it moves
Yeah,
in a particular way, and you want it to use the whole surface in order to have like your roll
yeah,
going, to guarantee
yeah,
the roll.
yeah. There's a couple of us that are new at this, and like Desi said, he used a very small paddle, lengthwise, and I guess blade size too. And he's like, "Well, you better make sure you have your roll down."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that part." The
Look,
bigger surface area.
the first thing was because I started in a rodeo kayak in the ocean. I've never been in rivers in my life. It's a shame, but I come from the ocean side, so it happens.
Yeah.
And from Rome, Ostialido. I don't know if you know the place.
No.
And we used to try. I saw a friend of mine. I used to be a lifeguard, and a friend of mine next to me in the next beach. He one day took out like a big a piranha playboat,
Hmm.
and I said, "What is this?" Like it was, wow. This guy is a triton. I want to be
Yeah.
like that. I don't want to surf standing. I want that. And he could do whatever he wanted on a wave.
Yeah.
He could paddle out and then turn his kayak and catch that same wave. And I was like, wow, what a maneuver. And that's
Yeah.
because he had a paddle in his hand. So I bought myself a rodeo kayak. I
Yeah.
still have it. I love it. I will never sell it. And I needed to learn to row because I was scared. I can drown. I cannot go on my own. You know,
Yeah.
it's a dependency you have on others. So I like worked the whole summer to get my first role, and I got it, and I kept on working on it. I think this job never ends. You
Yeah.
always have to practice your role because your body changes, your flexibility changes, you change gear, you change boats. You want to
Yeah.
be able to roll with anything. I also
Yeah.
trained with a Kalua softie, and I could do it.
Yeah.
So I can say I'm a good paddler. I'm not a good surfer, but I'm a good paddler.
Well, I think some people disagree, but you're a name in the industry. I mean, for me, who came in, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, just through the Facebook groups and Instagram and such. I mean, there's not that many people, so you're a driving force. So it's nice to have you,
Thanks.
giving us all this knowledge and like you said,
I'm
I'm,
still learning. I'm still
yeah,
learning.
for me, I'm trying to get down to a smaller paddle, but I don't think I'm there yet for 680. Um, even 7 centimeters, I might be pushing it. So I'm probably going to stick with I got a new boat on the way, a
Yeah,
Banshee.
I saw that.
So I just
I'm
want to
happy
take,
for you.
yeah, I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to experiment with the fins that come with it. I got a few extras. I'm going to use my paddle that I have. I mean, it looks like it might be 720 centimeters ish, maybe 730,
Look,
and
just
try it.
try to get the best from what you got.
Yeah.
I have this is just a metaphor, but maybe can fit. I have this. I still have the same photo camera, video camera, since like maybe 12 years.
Mhm.
I didn't upgrade because I'm sure I can still do good things with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And this is what you
exactly.
have to and this is what you have to do. You have to and try to know very well what you have, because at the edge of that experience you
Yeah.
will learn which are your limits.
Yeah.
So anything, any gear you might have will not give you the role, will not give you the technique. It's you
Yeah.
to perform.
Yeah.
What I offer to people is an enhancement
Yeah.
to what they know already about themselves. But if
Yeah.
you don't have the technique, do you think a good paddle will make you surf,
Oh, yeah.
or a
No,
good
of course
kayak?
not.
So
Yeah.
we put radio controlled kayaks, and you just go on a roller coaster. It's not the same.
Yeah. So you've got some other stuff going on AO Experience, our
Yeah.
experience, that
Yes.
I've seen on your website. And you do teaching and classes
Yes.
and and kind of outreach, things like that. That's great, man.
I
We're doing.
had the luck 8 years ago when I arrived to this island. I was working in my brother's bar as a waiter, and it was frustrating also because working with family is frustrating. You know that.
Yeah.
So when I got out from there, I had the luck of having neighbors which came from Barcelona, living in front of my house, and they brought kayaks, plastic kayaks, and stand-up paddles, paddle boards, sorry, but big plastic heavy ones with a van and a
Yeah.
trailer. And I said, "What is happening here?" And I went to ask them, we're going to set up a company of excursion and so on. I say, hey, look, I'm your guy. Test
Yeah.
me up. And I just, I became a professional kayaker. I mean, I was, by definition, I was paid to paddle.
Yeah.
Maybe part-time, maybe learning everything from scratch and how to navigate in the ocean and all these things. But I had a chance, and it was incredible. It was impossible to imagine this if I was in Italy. And I come
Mm,
from a big city,
yeah.
but there is no there is no will of imagining things. You can do
Yeah.
this everywhere in the world if you have a piece of ocean for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've been to your website. There's a lot of great stuff, and I'm definitely down for
It
some
all
fun.
happened that day, it all happened that day when you get an
Yeah.
inspiration and then you just try to follow. It took me 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years to take my life into my hands and say, look, I'm registering as a company. I
Yeah.
will, like, after a few years I was doing this with O. I said I will register with my company. I want to lead excursions. I will have an insurance. I will be able to accept customers and advertise myself, and I will do it for real, period, because
Yeah.
this is what I want to do in life.
Yeah.
But it's risky. But look, I'm gonna die if I'm still working in a restaurant, in a bar. Now
Mm,
I deliver pizzas at night
yeah.
because this dream is still a work in progress. I mean, I don't yet make the money I want. So
Yeah.
I do a side job and I deliver pizzas 4 hours a night. That's why I'm destroyed and tired. And I don't go surfing, but I know where I'm going. At least
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. So I invite everyone. If you have a dream, if you want to paddle, if you want to make this your job, I don't know. Send me a message, okay? I will answer with encouragement at least. Try something. Try.
Yeah, absolutely. What I love about this sport is that you guys are within reach. Anyone that I've reached out to, from Chris Hobson to you to everyone else, Ian, you guys message me back. I have like the craziest questions, and you know, you
Can
didn't
you
blow me
contact?
off
Can you contact any surf champion, any
like John
John
Florence,
Florence or
Kelly
Kelly
Slater,
Slater? Did you ever try
Toledo.
send a
No,
message?
no, no, no. So that's kind of why I like this sport as well. It's kind of like a little niche thing. I don't know what the
The
percentage is.
community is everything. The
Yeah.
community is everything. When I started my crowdfunding campaign, I said, okay, I'll try. Why not? And you know what?
Mhm.
Of course, it didn't go through. It was about 10,000 euros.
Mhm.
And I just reached 1,200, 1,300. The idea was to collect the money from the people who wanted to give and use it to promote the athletes and to especially to support adaptive surfing, to buy myself some
Yeah.
gear so I can start my company and so on. Well, I
Yeah.
didn't get much, but I get a lot from some people from the community. I thank them one by one. I also had I had 250 euros. I had 500 euros. Crazy. I mean, it's a lot of money for me. Maybe not much for them,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of money for me. I was going to cry that day. Like I was excited. I had mixed feeling. And now, is it for real? Is this happening for real? Is this real money? And then you transfer it in your bank account, and it's there. And you know what? I kept my word. It's not all about thanking. You take that money and you give equipment to the adaptive riders when you
Yeah.
can. If not, if you cannot, you just make a very good discount, 50%. Whatever it takes, you pay for the postage, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But they could use it in the worlds. They could use it in the ISA Adaptive World Championships. I'm so proud of this.
Yeah.
Really
That's
proud. And not because it's my achievement, it's our achievement as a community.
so it's raining here. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but
Yeah. Sounds
sorry.
romantic.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, my
Ah,
wife
that's okay.
in there. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if any of you guys out there have any questions before we let Alessandro go. I know Ross is.
Sorry, I
Um,
speak too much.
no,
Yeah,
it's
let all
good.
the question come in.
I mean, you saw what I did to that fin. I made a mess out of that thing, but that's
It's your
kind of
mess. It's beautiful.
yeah. I mean, listen, I
Try
tried it
again.
out. Listen, that's kind of what the whole paddle
Make holes
experience,
in it. Make holes in it. Drill some holes in it, and try to see what happens.
right?
Cut
Make it
off
look
the
mean.
look, if you cut the back of the base, maybe the tail will act like a fish fin.
Right.
It will be
Dolphin.
flexible. Try things.
Right. And we also ride them into the sand, so we don't. There's also the logistics of not having them break
Oh my
off.
god, that is a problem with surf kayaks. That's why I had to use G10 multi-layer multi-layer materials
Yeah, yeah.
because the
You
other
seem
one
to,
were too delicate. I had to
yeah, you're
refund a couple of people.
yeah, and that's one reason I want to upgrade. One thing we didn't talk about, whether it's drums or a car or a kayak. Sometimes the stock, um, I guess you could say the stock fins, they're plastic,
Yeah.
so they don't ship top of the line fins with the boats or with my drums. The heads we
Yeah, they
replace.
are intended to consume and break.
Yeah,
But of course, what the want the part to break is the smallest and the more easy to change. You don't want to break the boat, so it's normal that you sacrifice the fins.
yeah,
But if you invest a little more money and you get a good material fins, they will last for more. And
yeah,
as well,
yeah,
if you buy fins and you're a surf kayaker, you cannot blame the fins to be consumed and then say, I mean, you complain about the fins and you don't complain about the bottom of the kayak with all those scratches. That
yeah,
is
yeah.
not an issue. If you say that is normal, but the fins shouldn't scratch, then I mean, you're
No,
looking
that's
for
just the way it
problems.
is. Yeah,
You're
that's like
looking for
putting
problems.
it's like putting tires on a new car. I mean,
What do you
we
expect?
we drive them into the sand when we launch them, when we come, land, and
Part of the
rocking at
game.
shells, and you
As
might
a
hit.
as a brand, I can only guarantee their function in the water. Then,
Yeah,
if you test them on solid things,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. That's but they're like yours are carbon reinforced. They're glass. You've got a
That
great-
carbon is for stiffness, but the
yeah,
resin is more easy to consume because it comes from surfing technology.
yeah,
It's not meant for our sports, and the materials better be strong for surf kayaks. So G10 is the best.
yeah.
Maybe stiffer, maybe heavier, but as I said, you're just soaked in water, so weight is shouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem really.
Well, I will say that the fins that I had some stock fins on a kayak that I sold, and they started humming when I got some speed.
Hmm.
My friend Bill heard it too. He's like, I heard that
Plastic
hum.
ones, sorry, they were plastic,
Yeah, they were plastic. Yeah,
so too
so
flexible.
they're flexible. So you get the vibration, and it vibrates through the bottom of the hull, and it's a very flat boat. And I had fins like that as a teenager. Cheap on a cheaper surfboard,
But it's
and
cool when they hum. Means you go fast. It's like when you put a play card on the wheels of your bike and the bzzz, like the
yeah.
same.
I personally was like, all right, well, these are plastic. They came with the kayak. They're fine for now. And even the ones that are going to be shipped to me, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm going to try them, move them forward, move them back.
But
You know,
every well, there are different kind of plastics, and
yeah,
there are good professional plastic fins, and they're expensive. Don't think that they
yeah,
are cheap. For example,
yeah,
K4, I think, is the brand. It's a British brand, I think.
yeah.
They're very specialized into windsurfing, so they
Hmm.
make plastic fin for windsurfing and things like this. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And listen, if anybody out there, I see that Paul is on here, and we're going to have him, I think, in maybe a month, and talk
Beautiful.
talk to him about how he started, and he's got this whole
He's a
brand.
very, 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 very good person,
Yeah,
very kind-hearted guy,
yeah,
and he's one of my best friends.
because
Not
there
only
are.
a customer, he became a very, very important person in my life.
Yeah, and we I'm going to have I think Matt Lamont on next time in a
Great
couple of
rider,
weeks, and
great rider.
but there's the whole wave ski, and then there's surf kayak, and I haven't done
Yeah,
enough history research to find out which came first and when they crossed paths, and why guys pick one or the other, and if some guys do both.
you end up loving both if you come from surf kayaking.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
if you come from wave ski surfing, maybe because
yeah,
surf kayaks are not I hope nobody would kill me now, but surf kayaks are not the best mean to surf because they are not that light at the end of the day, so it's
yeah,
harder to put in the air and so on.
in the air,
but they
yeah,
are but they are it's something you start loving with no reason, and you cannot stop going in
Yeah.
there.
It's
It's
almost
like
like
it becomes part of you. You are inside of it, and makes
that's
you
why I
become
like
like
it.
an animal, an
Yeah.
ocean animal. It's
Yeah.
more spiritual thing.
This might sound weird, but as a board surfer, I did like the fact that I get inside of it like a little race car, and it's totally different than board surfing. And there's a skirt, and there's this little ritual and all these things, and I just loved it. And plus, the water here is usually pretty chilly. I'd say nine
That's
months out
also
of the
why
year.
surf kayaks developed more in
I
the
mean,
northern
I love
countries.
being warm in that thing, so, but for me, if I was in warm weather constantly, I might be a wave skier. But then again, I'm a little older. I like the back rest in the surf kayak. I like the comfort. My knees are hitting the outside in a nice little comfy area. I got the thigh
They
grips.
offer different comforts, because as
I don't
well,
have to move.
if you have to drag yourself in a very long beach with,
Yeah,
very long tide beaches, well, you have to drag for a while. It's
yeah,
not comfortable. So depends what you look for. Here in this island, I could only go in Famara or other sandy beaches, because I almost destroyed my ex Mega Boost
yeah,
on a rocky beach, and
yeah,
so I couldn't afford anymore.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then I said, I think I need to try a wave ski. I did. I got the speed, and I got the lightness and the easiness to get in and out. You can mount back
yeah,
if you can't roll.
yeah,
You
yeah,
need both.
yeah. And
You need to be able in both.
yeah, and there's some people that would say, well, master both, or I mean, master one. But as a surfer, if the waves were a certain condition, I would take a fish or a longboard out and have a lot of fun. And if it was big and brutal, and I'd have to duck dive just to get out there, I'd take the shorter board out there just so I could make it out. And
Maybe with a long one, you just go over it if you're good in paddling.
yeah,
You
I
have
mean,
to
it's
know how to use your nose very well,
yeah,
so to get into the foam not that much.
getting better. I mean, I was
I've seen I've seen
yeah,
Chris Hobson in
yeah,
like a 4 meters wave. It break on him like big foams. I don't know how he just paddled through, and I got it on film. I got it on
yeah.
film.
Yeah, someone else had a question here.
Yes,
Ben
Ben
says, "What's your favorite?"
Bernard
Let's see. He says, "What's your favorite move on a
Ben
wave?"
Atfield is a very good whitewater kayaker. He makes incredible freestyle on flat water. I love his
Yeah,
videos. Yes,
I'll have to check
and
him out.
what?
Cool. I'll have to check out his videos.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I published something. He's very shy on the social media. Doesn't publish much, but
Okay.
I just poke him a lot. And he said, well, he's asking my favorite move. Well, I liked it 360. It's basic, it's easy, it's fun. You just
Yeah.
360. If you have the right waves and the short boat and no fins, you just do it once or twice.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
nice.
I'm I'm kind of old school in that way too. Right now, I'm not looking to do aerials or really get the boat out of
I
the
lost the
water.
faith of making areas.
Yeah. I mean,
I lost the
yeah.
faith. So what I'm trying to do, yes, is I'm learning now to hit the lips with the wave ski to come
Yeah.
back down.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think you have to think one step at a time.
You do, and we talked with Ian about that, and Desi, and you kind of go out on a mission that even getting back to paddles. The last time I was out with my black paddle, I'm looking at my hands where they are, and I'm thinking, okay, I could go out. I could have the blade a little closer. I think, maybe I could get a little shorter paddle, and then I'm looking at my hands and loosening them up, and I'm looking and seeing how the blade hits the water, and I'm trying to do what Desi said, almost like a beach ball here.
Yeah, but
It's-
if you look at the paddle, we naturally follow our nose. Our bodies are meant to point at something with our
yeah,
nose and follow it. If you look at your paddle, you will tend naturally to bring your body there.
then
You
I'll
want to
wipe
look
out.
at the place you want to be in the wave.
Yeah, so I'm
Let,
just trying to.
let your hands let your hands feel the paddle. You
Yeah,
have other sensory systems.
yeah,
Don't rely on your eyes only.
yeah,
So just
yeah,
navigate the wave with your eyes, and let
yeah,
your hands be sensitive enough to feel.
yeah. So
Anyway, you shouldn't make strokes during the wave, during the surfing.
Right, right.
You just have to use the paddle to maneuver.
A little
This
bit.
is a teaching I got from Edu Echeverria. He
Mm.
was quite shouting at us in our camp, in our last camp, when we used to paddle on during the wave, in the wave. Maybe to
Yeah,
catch it is okay, but not when you maneuver. You don't want to paddle during that maneuver
yeah, and
because you get unstable. And you
yeah,
have to learn to put the rails and let the kayak guide you
yeah. I agree. I mean, that's yeah. Thanks for that tip. I mean,
there. Big shout out to Edu, Grande Edu.
yeah.
Love you, man.
I think Chris Hobson said we should interview him and get him on here, and maybe we'll
He's
be
a
able to do
very
that.
good teacher.
Yeah,
Not only a great paddler, great surf kayaker, pluri world champion, he is also able to transmit his knowledge.
yeah.
I respect him a lot.
Well, I'm going to let you go. I think. I mean, it's
We
a
can
little.
stay here for hours.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know that there's a few people, about four of us here that I know personally on the East Coast USA that are we're kind of in our experimenting learning stages. Like Ross is wondering about fins, and I just cut mine. I drew it out. I wanted to see what would happen, and I'll probably buy another one. I'll you know, draw it out, draw a little template, maybe make an in between size, and try different with my thruster. I'm told that the Banshee can use, two fins or no fins, or you can try the three with two small ones as side bites, right? They call them
Yeah.
side bite fins, and
Well,
just
it also depends on the distance from the box, from the
yeah,
rail,
yeah,
because the closer you go to the rail, the smaller you need the fin. So
yeah,
you have to consider a few things, but
yeah,
experiment, try it,
yeah, yeah,
sit
and
down,
that's just it. I mean, that's
make
quite.
holes.
Yeah, if it slides out and you're sliding, then
Just to
maybe
understand what the water flow does. Just to
yeah.
understand that.
Yeah,
Maybe they whistle.
yeah, the one thing I will say in my journey this past year was that I wasn't leaning enough, and I wasn't getting my rail in enough. You can only rudder so much when you're going so fast, especially if you're in the pocket or on the side of the wave. You,
I
you
think
know,
I can give you two advices for this.
yeah,
Just to lean more. Two
yeah,
advices. A
yeah,
shorter paddle than your average ones,
yeah,
because you will be forced to lean more to put the whole blade in.
yeah,
But this doesn't mean that you will really use the whole surface. Maybe you will just be
yeah,
lazy and use
yeah,
less surface, so surf worse.
yeah,
What you have to do is to work on your body,
yeah,
to be flexible, to be more flexible. And when you want to make a maneuver, better exaggerate and reduce. I mean, intensity of how strong you put the paddle in. Better
yeah,
exaggerate and reduce that never bringing it out.
yeah.
Understand what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
shy, if your attitude is shy, you will never learn.
Well,
Exaggerate, and then you can put the
yeah.
brake.
I like my buddy John's like, you got to lean. I'm like, it feels like I'm going to fall out of the boat. But the thing
Do
is,
it.
yeah,
Better
no.
fall and learn.
And I didn't fall out of the boat. I'm like, wow, this thing turned really fast when I leaned
Even
out.
the rails without the fins can hold more than you think, but you
Yeah,
have to
they
give
can.
them a chance.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, well, this is great. I mean, we could talk for hours. So I will tell everyone out there, they already know it, but basically, go to your
Contact me.
yeah, contact Alessandro via email or messenger. He always gets back to you, and
It's
I'll
my
probably
oxygen. I need feedback. It's my
yeah.
oxygen.
And we can order here in the States from Maxski for the paddles
Yes.
and the fins,
If
which
Ian is too busy because he's like shaping 4 boards a week, it's crazy what he does. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
it's an industry on his own. It's crazy and all
yeah,
hand shaped. If he's too busy, you can contact me directly, no problem. Anyway, he will be in the conversation. He will be ready to give advice. He's my man over there. I trust him like
yeah,
more than me.
yeah. And I will say that I know it's going to be if we say a month, that means two. My kayak was two months, but it actually is four. So that's just the way it is when you're making them one at a time by hand, by artisanship. It's they're not pumped out of the factory, so it's great waiting for it. It's like gold.
Better wait 1 month more and have a
Yeah,
good product instead of
that's
like like being in a rush, whatever I find
yeah,
on Craigslist, and then
yeah.
it's
So
different approach. But I think you're ready for a new boat now. What you do is ready for a new boat.
in a perfect world, I would have like four minimum, I think, and wave skis mixed in there, and that's just the way it goes. Well, listen, it was great talking to you. I will tell everyone out there, if you're listening live or if you're playing this back, that I got Matt Lamont scheduled for the next talk, and Paul. I reached out to Paul.
Looking forward to hear
Yeah,
that.
for wave ski surfing as the follow up, and we'll probably take a break in the warmer weather because we'll all be kayak surfing here. And
But anyway, thank you so much for starting interviews as well. I felt very alone in this. I
nah,
did something, but I'm spacing too much, and I go from adaptive surfing to other disciplines. And but you are focusing on kayak surfing and wave ski, and which is very needed in the community. Thank you so much.
yeah, well, thank you. Listen, Alessandro, you're a gentleman, and man, great to have you in this sport, and it's been beautiful
We will meet for sure one day,
in the Canary Islands. I mean,
or I may come there. We never know. But when I decide something, it happens generally. So we will meet one day, and it will be a good
absolutely,
time.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for speaking with us, and keep posting Instagram and Facebook and
I'm
YouTube.
unstoppable. I will outwork anyone.
Yeah, that we do know. All right, listen, you have a
Thank
great
you so
night.
much.
Well,
Sorry for watching all the time on this side, but my monitor is on a
it's
different
all
place
good.
of the camera.
It's all good, man. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
See
night.
you
Buenas
soon.
noches.
Buenas noches. Cuídate mucho. Play music.